Hi Capricorn and Capricorn Rising, here is your horoscope for June 2025. I'm Astrologer Joseph Anthony. All right, we have a very big month ahead, and this is because there are going to be 4 planets that switch signs this month. And they're all going to interact with either Pluto or your ruler, Saturn. And speaking of Saturn, Saturn is now in the 4th house in the sign of Aries. And the last time this happened was 29 years ago. So think back 29 years ago, and what were you doing back then? Were you moving? Did you have some family dynamics? And so Saturn in the 4th house makes you more emotional, but there's more of a need to reorganize, restructure, anything to do with family dynamics. This is all going to be in the mix in the next 2.5 years as Saturn makes its way through this part of your chart. But this month, because we have these 4 planets that are going to be switching signs, they are going to interact with Saturn right here in the 4th house. So there's going to be a lot of activity around family, friends, and socializing this month, especially the second half of the month, and a lot of communication. And that starts off this month with the Gemini energy. Gemini Sun, Gemini Mercury, and Jupiter is still in Gemini, but not for long. And it's in the 6th house. And so you're analyzing every little part of your life. You're trying to perfect things. You're busy at work. You're busy focusing your attention on maybe getting rid of clutter or trying to change your current environment. And so this is totally normal right now with this kind of energy that we have here. So we start off the month with the first planet that's going to move out of its sign is Venus. Now Venus is right here and enters Taurus, your 5th house of love, romance, playfulness, just enjoying yourself, your kids. And Venus has been in Aries for a long time because of its retrograde. So now it's finally left there into Taurus, which is another earth sign like yours. So it's very favorable. So here we see wanting to be more playful in the next 5.5 weeks as Venus makes its way through here. Playfulness, enjoying your kids, starting new creative projects, and if you do have any products, put that out too. But Venus in Taurus is about simplicity. Venus in Taurus is about enjoying the simple things. It's getting back to the basics, like a nice meal or enjoying going out in the woods or gardening or, looking good, feeling good. It's a very simple, basic alignment. Now, the downside to Venus in Taurus is we think about money more, or we think about the physical side of life more, owning things and, having luxurious items and so on. So we have to, our mindset turns to that. So as it goes through the 5th house, it's going to help you to feel more loving and more surrounded by people that care about you and so on. Okay, so this is a benefit because it's in another earth sign like yours. Now Mercury is going to switch signs also. This is the sign of communication right there, and it leaves Gemini and now moves into this emotional, sort of nostalgic sign of Cancer and your 7th house of relationship. Now, this is where things start going a little weird because Mercury in Cancer does not work very well. And it makes us more moody. It makes us more sensitive. We start thinking about the past, past hurts, past feelings, anything pertaining to family, real estate matters. This is all on the table now for the next 3 weeks as Mercury makes its way through the 7th house. And so this Mercury is going to get entangled with Saturn, unfortunately. So there are a little bit of confusion or irritation having to do with the home life. So we need to keep an eye on that one. So for 3 weeks, you might be feeling a lot more moodier, or the people around you might start feeling a lot more moodier. So this is going to be a tricky one. Now, the other planet, the 3rd planet to go into another sign is Jupiter. Now, Jupiter enters Cancer. And it hasn't done that since 12 years ago. And so Jupiter in the 12th house, in the 7th house, does work well in Cancer. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, meaning that its energy flows nicely in the sign of Cancer. So we don't get overly emotional or, reclusive. And so this is a year long of connecting with others, wanting to travel, wanting to explore, wanting to just have conversations with others. Now it's in the sign of Cancer, the sign of the home, feelings, foundation. So all of these themes are going to be highlighted even more now with Jupiter making its way through the 7th house. And so this could be a great time for meeting new people while traveling, or reconnecting with people that you really cared about from the past, because because Cancer is the sign of the past. And so this could be a very interesting time for many of you. A whole year of this connecting with others. Just be careful of, the emotional stuff, because, when these other aspects hit, Jupiter will get amplified and there'll be more emotion involved. Now, the full moon this month is going to be in Sagittarius, right here in your 12th house of limitations and self-undoing. And so a full moon usually brings something to light that's hidden, that's down deep within us. And it's in the 12th house of spirituality. So this is something deep on your psyche, in your spirit, that is bringing to light something very important about what you're doing and where you're going. Now, the 12th house could also represent endings. Maybe you're thinking about closing a business. Maybe you're thinking about, leaving behind a certain situation. Maybe there are friends or family members that are moving away and don't belong in your life anymore. So you're coming to these realizations about a certain situation, okay? Sagittarius is all about philosophy, meaning, and purpose. And so with a full moon, we are bringing these things to light so we could examine them and think about what we want to do with those current situations. All right. Now, these are the houses. The 12th and the 6th do represent the health houses. One is the psyche and the other one is the physical side of life. So pay attention to your health, or someone else's health for that matter, because that may be amplified as well. And it could be mental health, could be physical health. And so keep an eye on that. Now, we have Jupiter squaring your ruler Saturn. Now, this is a tricky one because Jupiter squaring Saturn is a big deal in astrology. Usually there's significant events that take place in our lives and in the public. And so we might find ourselves, having to make a decision about something that's not easy. Jupiter wants to expand and wants to move forward, while Saturn wants to restrict and force us to do things the hard way. And so when we have a square alignment, there's usually a decision that needs to be made, but it's a difficult one. And so this is about a partnership, relationship of some kind versus the home life or home environment of some kind. And there's emotion involved. There's lots of emotion involved here, and so it could have something to do with a child, could have something to do with a lover, could have something to do with a business partner. These are all the things that are being highlighted here that can be a little irritating and troublesome. So, you could see this pattern evolving here from about the 10th or so, 9th, 10th, 11th on, where these alignments are getting a little trickier. And so, we're all going to be feeling it, but the good news is this is going to force us to change in some way. Now, the next sign that's going to, the next planet that's going to change signs, and the fourth one is Mars. Mars is finally going to leave Leo. It was in Leo for a long time, bouncing back and forth between Cancer and Leo because of its retrograde at the beginning of the year. Now it's finally in Virgo, another Earth sign. So it's going into the 9th house, which has a lot to do with philosophy, traveling, learning, being playful. But Mars in Virgo is a very nervous Nelly energy. Virgo rules the nervous system and the digestive system, but it has a lot of anxiety. So from time to time, we might just feel this abrupt anxiety for no apparent reason, and that'll propel us forward to want to do more and see more and break out of the old, you see, as we're analyzing every little detail of our lives. And that's what Mars in Virgo is going to do. Now, depending on your birth chart, but depending on, where everything falls in your actual birth chart, that's how it's going to affect you. And remember, this is a general sun sign reading for rising sign Capricorn or a sun sign Capricorn. It's using the Western tropical whole house system. Your birth chart is going to be completely different, and your birthday is going to be different. So again, this has to be a very general overview. So there's another dynamic. So that's the fourth planet. But then on the 18th, Jupiter squares Neptune right there. Jupiter at 2 degrees squaring Neptune. So there's that issue that continues to be on your mind, or whatever you're needing to deal with. Could be a home repair, could be a remodel. This could be a little lighter and easier, Jupiter squaring Neptune. There could be some confusion, but also at the same time an ending, a completion, or a realization that you have to move on from a certain situation. And that involves this fourth house, the home feeling and foundation, versus another person. So we see Jupiter is really going to, really get entangled with both Saturn, your ruler, and Neptune as well around this time frame. Now, when we go into the 20th and 21st, the Sun enters Cancer, which is your opposite sign. So again, people and relationships are highlighted even more. So the Sun entering Cancer brings a giant spotlight to the area of relationships, emotions, feelings, family, anything to do with real estate or the foundation gets highlighted with another. Let's say, for instance, you're buying some land or something. Maybe you're doing a partnership with someone. Maybe you're selling some property. This is all highlighted here even more. But this could bring in somebody new into your life because it's the 7th house of other. And so this is going to continue to highlight this area for about 30 days. And then the new moon is also in Cancer on the 25th. It'll be at 4 degrees of Cancer, so wherever that is in your birth chart. And so somebody new is coming into your life, or a new situation around the home. And maybe you've resolved that issue around the middle of the month with the family dynamics. This is a possibility here with this new moon in Cancer. And then last but not least, we have the Mercury entering the sign of Leo in the 8th house. Now, this is an interesting one because the 8th house is deep psychological transformation, and Mercury in Leo likes to speak its mind. And so you might find yourself talking about money and shared resources and some sort of change that is a necessity that's going on here. So this is going to be very profound as well. So you could see that this is a big month for transformation, and there's a lot of activity in the 4th house and relationships this month. Anyway, there's the general overview. If you want to know more, I do an extended horoscope in my Inner Circle community, as you can see here from this slide. So I left the link down below. There's a free 7-day trial. And in there, I also do the weekly astrology overview, and I teach astrology in there. We have a whole 6-module course. And of course, the highlight is every Sunday we are on a Zoom call with all the members, and they get to ask me questions, or they send me their charts, and we go over a few questions about their charts, and we interact about what's going on in world events and so on. So it's a great community, and consider joining. Again, there's a 7-day free trial, so there's no obligation, and see if it's for you. All right, so have a great month. I left the link down below, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye for now.